I know this song. Finally! I am so honored. I'm so touched that you would be here for me. Thank you so much. God, it's just really, it's incredible to be back and to be with you. And we're here, and I know we're going to have a great time. Woo! I feel I came.
We are too.
I love you all. Thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Great to see you. It's really great to be with you. So thank you, everybody.
Vinnie, how does it feel? You know, I mean, I've been talking to fans in the hotel since yesterday, and I mean, people are in tears. I got choked up. I mean, my introduction was short because I was going to start crying if I didn't. I'm starting to do it now. How does it feel?
I'll tell you, this is one of the happiest days of my life, and I really mean that. And you know, it's alive. You know, we're alive. We're above ground. We're here to enjoy each other. You know, a lot of people have passed, and there's a lot of pain out there. You know, every day we're just bombarded with pain. You know, meanness, pain, mean-spirited stuff. You know, and I just didn't want to be a part of that anymore. So I said, if anybody is going to see me, they're going to know, you know, my side of a lot of events that have happened, and I think they're going to hear me speak for the first time about a lot of things that happened, and maybe to bring a little good feelings back, you know, and take a break from all the hate and the pain and all that crap that's out there. And that's why I wanted to do this, a big part of it.
So, what have you been doing for the last 20 years? Last 20 years.
I have been, you know, this is probably one of the hardest answers to a question that sounds simple. Do you want fake news or real news?
Real news.
The truth? You want the truth?
Yeah.
You want slick or you want unrehearsed? You want it from the heart. Okay. And I think you deserve it. You deserve a lot of the, you know, from the heart stuff, because I disappeared because there was I think a lot of things began early 90s, and there was a discovery that there was a lot of royalties that were owed to me from my friends, you know, my band, and they were a tremendous amount of money, at least as far as I'm concerned. And I really tried to see if we could have avoided any litigation, any lawsuits, any problems. And I spent 4 years. I've spent 4 years from 91 to 97 and just saying, don't you think we could do the right thing and make me happy? You know, there's been nothing but great memories that we did together, and the records we made were great, and it was a time that I needed to resolve with me that would have made most of the things that I had done in my career make sense. And unfortunately, my very dear friends didn't feel that way. And it surprised me, because a lot of when people work for a living, you work to get paid at the end of the week. With musicians, it's different, because a lot of that happens 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line, you know. And the work you do now, you usually don't get paid for till, 12 months later. and sometimes 18 months later. But it takes all that time for sales to accumulate and for all the royalties that are derived from these sales to find their way, into accounting. And it's a really long process. But, we're talking about 20 years from, figure 1982 to 97, which is, it's what, 15 years. And that's a lot of royalties and a lot of time, a lot of accumulation, a lot of records. And so there was a tremendous amount of royalties that were owed. I tried so hard to make it, work so we could have been friendly and amicable about all of it. And again, my dear friends did not feel that way. So I really had no choice. And I had to file a lawsuit. And it was not anything I wanted to do. And instead of someone saying, listen, just take care of Vinnie, it didn't turn out that way. And when you have a family, when you have a mom, a dad, whatever, you want to let them see, the fruits of your labor, your talent. And it was important for me to let them see it while they were still here. And, I've got a family, I've got kids, and it doesn't just affect me, it affects everybody. So it went on for 20 years, and it was unnecessary. In my opinion, it should have never happened. And after 20 years, we finally put it to bed, and we settled it. And there was really no need for it because I love them, These are my close friends. We shared some great songs, great memories, great playing. Regardless of what, you are being told, my memories of it were they were fantastic. I was young. This was what I wanted more than anything in life. I wanted to be in this band because I think I could make a difference. I feel what they feel. I feel what they write. I could remember Gene saying to me, you'd be great for the band, but you're too short. So I said, well, that's what you're basing this on, So those were the early days, Those were the days where I said, I'm not going to let you say no. You're not going to say no because this is the right thing that's going to happen. And it did. So I'll answer everything you guys want to know. I'm here to tell you as much as I can tell you, and I hope to fill in all the gaps of everything you want to know.
Just getting back to a little bit of history, what's the real story about how you joined the band during the Creatures era? When they sort of said Ace was in, but then he wasn't in, then ads appeared with you in it, and they really didn't talk about it publicly as an announcement.
My memories of that began in 80 to 81, and Kiss were, as far as I can remember, they had booked a couple of studios at the record plant in Los Angeles, and I had a 1965 Dodge Dart, that didn't have a floor in it, So when I was driving, you could see the street go by, and I said, "Kiss is recording there." Whoa, So I got to be in that band. Somebody said they're looking for a guitar player. I said, "That's me." So I made every effort to meet them, and one thing led to another. I was recording demos. I had songs, and I was, that was my life. Recording my demos. Usually they were, when you don't have any money, you just whatever way they sound. When you're finished, that's it. Good or bad. Your time's up. and you're out of money, but you're recording these things, and you hope that something you wrote is good. So I wrote a song called Back on the Streets, and it worked. Thank you. It's a song I always liked, but it found its way into Michael, not the Michael Jackson singer, but the Michael James Jackson. Michael was a great guy. I really liked him very much, and of course I'm just a kid, green but wanting. Oh God, I wanted this so bad. So he said, I think this is a great song. This would be great for kids. We're recording a record. And that's how it happened. That is exactly how it happened. And so they were at the record plant, and it was like the first time what Michael had said to me was, I want you to write with Gene and with Paul, because I think there's something here that is common to Gene and Paul and you. And of course I hit it off. Eric and I became real fast friends. Eric was, God, he left us way too soon. He was like the nicest person you'd ever want to know. Funny, my God, this guy would, just one after another, and you'd be on the floor and never get up laughing, So he was a wonderful person. And he was a person that he was an advocate. He wanted, I think, from what I could remember, he wanted me to be part of the band. Our writing started to happen, and it was good. It was really good. We had something that is hard to explain to people, and I just felt that this was my dream to be in this band. This was everything I had always wanted. It was like being in the Beatles, And we wrote I Love It Loud. I never forget that. We were just one after another, after another, after another. And we had so many songs, and it just became this cornucopia of music that started to happen. And I'm thinking, God, this stuff is really good. Am I really doing this? Is this really happening? I'm living this, but I can't believe it's happening. And I could remember we were writing these I Love It Loud. I remember it really well. Killer was another song we had done that I remember really well. And the memories that go around, that are attached with this are incredible memories. I used to meet Gene. At the time, I think he had a relationship with Diana Ross. And I used to meet him at her house. She was not there, but she had this big cavernous living room. It was like about the size of this room, but this really high ceiling, And we just got, and don't got the medicine, no, it's just a guitar and a voice, and these lyrics are coming out, and you're going, I love it loud, and this whole thing just began to just instant. It's almost like it wrote itself, and a lot of songs were like that. So after all of this, I know this is a long story, but after all of this writing and this natural relationship, musical relationship formed, there were still guitar players coming in to the recording studio. And I said, I don't know, I'm right here, I don't know why you're doing this. Do you want me in this band, or do you not want me in this? No, we want you to stick around. Yeah, but what you got 100 guitar players right. Every day you got hundreds coming in, I'm watching them come in, they're going out. And they're a lot better looking than I was. And these are like Greek gods that are coming in and playing. I said, these guys got the job, look at them, And then another guy comes in, perfect, Mr. Perfect. He looked like gorgeous. You go, this guy's got the job, Then another one, I'm going, I don't stand a chance, And and they're tall, they're 6 feet, And I says, this guy's exactly what they want, And you've got the LA thing. It's like, I don't stand a goddamn chance here with any of this. So
So who makes the call to you?
This is the best part. I think this is the best part. So the record was over. We had done the record, and I went home. They said, "Okay, Vinnie, thanks a lot." I said, "Okay, good luck." Good luck. I said, I wish I could have been in the band, but I love you, but thanks so much. You know, this is like the best experience of my life, and wow, I can't believe I got like 5 songs on the Kiss record. So I went home, and my wife at that time, her name was Anne Marie, and she was pregnant, and hold on, guys, it's okay. So she was pregnant. She said, "Well, did you get the job?"
We love you, Vinnie.
I'll be all right.
We love you, Vinnie.
You said you guys said you wanted it from the heart, so that's what I'm giving you. So she was pregnant. I didn't know we were having twins. So she said, "Did you get the job?" I said, "No." So Gina Paul and the band flew to New York, and I just remembered, you know, I remember we had no furniture in our apartment. We had a black and white TV, and so I can't remember who called me. I think it was their tour managers. "Vinnie, we want you to come to New York and play a solo for," it was "Keep Me Coming. We want you to come fly to New York." So I did, and I played the solo. Everybody was happy, and I said, "Well, see you guys. You know, thanks for having me back." And was at the airport, and Eric took me to the airport. I think it was LaGuardia. And I'm getting ready to get on the plane. He says, "Don't leave yet." I said, "Why?" He said, just don't leave." He said, "Cancel your flight." And so I think it was Gene said, cancel the flight. We got your hotel. We want you to stay, and we want to rehearse with you. So it was step after step after step after step. And so I remember calling home back to LA, and I said, I said, "I don't know what's going on." I said, "But I think this is going to be something that I'm, you know, I don't want to even imagine what it is because I don't want to jinx it, but I think something's happening." We rehearsed, and, you know, I used to do like these guitar solos and get on my knee, you know, and they go, "What are you gonna get on your knees for?" You know, and I said, "Well, I don't know, you know, it's what I do." So we had the rehearsals were great. I mean, it was really electrifying, you know, and we gelled. The music was really electric. I mean, I could feel the electricity, you know, like I've never felt it with anybody. So we said, I remember this was it. "Well, thanks a lot. I think we'll call you." And I'm thinking, geez, okay. So I said, "Eric, I booked a flight." He says, "I'll take you back to the airport." So I was like, my head was hanging, you know. And I said, "Thanks, Eric. It was great seeing you," you know. And they said, "I really had like the best time in my life. This was incredible. What a memory." So getting on the plane again, turn around, waving to him. He says, "See ya." And then I remember him running back. As Vinnie, wait. Come on. I could just see him. Wait. I said, "What?" You know, I'm going, "What?" Hey, Vinnie, come on back. So I'm just ready to get on the plane, and I remember him saying, and I came back, and he says, I think Gene wants to talk to you. Again? I said, didn't we just go over this? Didn't this just happen? I swore we just went over this again. So, and I remember, I think it was Gene, and he said, we want you to stay, we want you to be in the band. And I don't know, it's too hard to feel that emotion, you know, and so we need you to rehearse right away. We're starting the tour, and you got a lot to learn, you know, and you got to take Ace's place. And I thought, you want me in those, you know, in that, yeah. And it was one after another, but it finally, you know, became me. I became it, and they taught me everything. They taught me so much, and it was they were the best teachers in the world. You know, nothing better, nobody better.
So let me ask, so when you get the job, what is that call like when you call home?
I can tell you exactly what it was like. I was sitting in the bathroom. I was sitting in the tub. I was in the bathtub, and it was a tub. Believe me, it was a tub, and it was like it was like no furniture in this place. And I remember I was finally home, and Gene said, "Listen, here's what's going to happen. We need you to come back and go back to LA. Come back, and this is how much we're going to pay you." And I just, you know, I'm screaming. I'm sitting in the bathtub screaming, and I'm going, And so he said, "Okay, see you soon. Got your plane booked. Here's the hotel. And I remember hanging up, and I went, you know? So it was one of those moments, you know. So that was the beginning of it, you know. After many years of, you know, driving a car that didn't have a floor in it, you know. So that was the beginning.
Did you have to deal with any of the Ace sort of controversy that all of a sudden you were there and the original guitarist was gone?
Ace controversy. Actually, I think I was pretty well received, you know. I think so. But I mean, this was part of them. Ace was a beginning part of them. So they all started together, where I came in, you know, to replace somebody that was that loved and that, you know, that special. And I did the best I could. You know, I did what was me, and I feel that whatever we became as a band took a while. It didn't happen right away. I was so new to them that it didn't feel. I could sense in my world that I know you want Ace back. I think you do, because how could you not want him back? I mean, he was part of you, you know. And I remember Gene saying to me, no, you're in the band. I said, "Are you sure?" He says, "Yeah, you're in the band." This was after the tour was going on. And we'd get in the limo after a show. He says, "You know that part over here where you do this? Don't do that. You know when you do this? That was good. Don't do this." And so he was the best teacher, you know. Paul was more like, "What are we doing with Vinnie?" You know. But I knew that he was. I said, "This is meant to be, you know, good or bad, this is meant to be." But I say, "This is good. This is the good part that's meant to be." I said, I would say to myself in those days, he's wrong. He's absolutely 100% wrong, because what they felt comfortable with was a world I didn't know, you know, and they had Peter, they had Ace, they started together, they made all these records together. It was like you know, it was like one of the biggest thing that had ever hit the world in rock and roll. So how could you not, you know, feel protective of that? To me, that was, you know, you kill for that, you die for that. And, you know, to have someone new come into that, especially as a guitarist, was real tough on them, you know, and I knew it. But I also saw past that. I was looking way over there, and I think they were looking back here, you know. And once the Creatures album was and the tour was done, and Lick It Up began, then I knew we were moving forward, and things really began to change.
Did you know how special Lick It Up was when it came out?
I didn't know, but I knew this. The Kiss with me that was moving forward. That's when I knew. That's the part I said, I'm a part of you now, and you're a part of me. You know, when I first joined, I was replacing someone and trying to maintain, you know, the Creatures was still, to me, it was a really powerful lineup.
Yeah.
Eric was, God, he was one of my favorite drummers. And I don't love drummers because I'm a drum machine type of person. You know, when I put a drum machine on and I write a song to that, that's how I feel it, that's how I hear it. But Eric was special. He had that, you know. He wasn't all just, he was, he felt that, you know. And I don't work with drummers that have that. He was one of the very few that had that. I know how this feels, you know. So together, the four of us together, by the time we got to Lick It Up, it was a real band. It was something I knew this thing could go ever. This thing could go on forever, you know.
When at the end of the makeup era, and you were doing the shows in Rio, what was the train of thought of the band at that point? That you guys were playing to over 100,000 people, but was the makeup coming off at that point, or?
Rio. God, that was probably one moment where I think everybody is going, we're in a foreign country here, and there's like, I think there was like 200,000 people, and they're going crazy, and the police are here, and we got to get out of this alive, was what I somewhat remember, yeah.
So could you enjoy it?
Oh, hell yeah. But you know, there was so many people that you don't even know there's people there, you know. It was like an ocean. Like if you stood on a cliff and looked at the ocean, it was very similar to that, you know. Because there's so many people you just couldn't really see until you realize there's 200,000 people here, you know. But it was electrifying. I mean, you walked out on stage and the deafening screams was enough to, you know, you could levitate, you know.
Yeah.
Like off of that energy. It was amazing.
Well, I have to ask this. Did you save Kiss?
Damn right I did. Good name for a book.
Was there a point, either in Creatures or Lick It Up, that you kind of went, this wasn't as fun as it was when I first got into this?
No, it was always fun. We were laughing all the time. Paul is the funniest stand-up comic. He puts away everybody. He's like, he gets the essence of what, but he's like a Don Rickles, you know? Don Rickles, he's that kind of comic. But he gets the essence of what you are, and he just blows it up, and it's pretty funny. So I remember laughing all the time. You know, I'm a comedian's best audience. So if you're funny, I'm on the floor laughing. So no, there was no moment for me where it didn't work. It was always working.
What was it like when the team broke apart, when you left Kiss? What brought that about, and how did you feel moving forward?
It was horrible. It was horrible for me, and this was not something I wanted to do. This was what I wanted, you know? And I wanted to stay. There was nothing I wanted more. There was a contract involved, and I don't want to get into all of it, but it was not something that I felt I could sign. You know, as much as I wanted to, it was impossible. To be honest with you, I mean, if we're talking about if you wanted to know things, for the time I was in the band, my salary take home was $550 a week, and I had 2 kids. They were finally born, and I had no money for a home. I was still driving a car that was like, you know, I wouldn't want, you know, my wife at the time driving that car, you know, and it was, I still remember, like, there was, you know, well, I know I'm contributing to this, but I feel like, you know, I'm not doing too well. You know, this is not going too well. So I kept asking for, you know, just pay me something that gives me a reason to still stay. You know, because at some point when you're contributing and you're part of the magic, you're part of the mystery, you're part of this machine that is working so well. If it was me, I'd say, I'm not losing you. You're worth something to me. And I didn't feel that I was worth anything to them. And that was the saddest part of it for me, because I wanted to feel that I was valuable to Gene and Paul. They, you know, Eric had his own, you know, arrangement with them, and he was happy. I just something that makes me feel like I can survive doing this. And after a while, to be able to say, I am in this incredible situation, this incredible band, I'm writing the songs, but this is where I live. This is, you know, this is what I have, because these are the fruits of my labor, you know? And it's like a job. When you work a job and you're appreciated, you get a raise. When you work in a job, you're appreciated, they give you a different position. It's about the same thing. And I never felt that, I didn't feel like I belonged. You know, I thought I belonged, but I never felt that I was welcomed as a part of the band the way I would wanted to have been. So at the end of the Lick It Up tour, the last I remember was, and that was the last we ever spoke, believe it or not, was at the end of the Lick It Up tour. Everyone was going home to write their songs for the record. And I said, well, I'll write some songs and I'll see you soon. And a couple of months passed, and I was in a recording studio, and I had Boys Are Gonna Rock, Shoot You Full of Love, No Substitute, Animal. It was all the songs from the Vinnie, Vincent Invasion record. Thanks. I was listening to the demos, and I thought, you know, these are really good. These are good. This would make a great Kiss album. You know, this would be like, wow. Imagine us, you know, with these songs now. This will be like after Lick It Up, after Creatures, and now we got this. I said, oh, these songs, this is for us.
Wait, you had all those songs, and then we got Murder in High Heels on Animal?
Well, it was something that I wanted us to, you know, to have as you know, in Kiss. But they were not able to work anything out with me, and I was really sad. And believe me, there was, you know, I don't think I had $50 in my pocket, you know.
Now, had you presented those songs to the band at that point, or no?
No, because they were saying, well, come on back. And I'm saying, well, you know, please work something out with me, please, you know. So I never came back, and because they chose not to work anything out with me, so I never came back. I stayed and recorded and recorded and recorded. And I'm thinking, I don't know I don't know what my fate is, because I believe in myself, but I don't know what next is. I know I've got this thing that I wanted so bad, this group I wanted so bad, And it wasn't, I felt like they didn't want me, and I didn't know why, because it was such magic that we had, but either they wanted it and didn't want to pay for it, or I felt when people don't pay you something that shows respect and worth, then they ultimately don't respect you. So I took a chance. All I did was I recorded these songs, I took a chance, and I didn't want that to happen, but it found its way there, So I remember quitting, but then I got a letter about a month and a half later saying that I was fired. So I guess what came first, quitting or fired, I don't know. It doesn't matter, it's all the same. It was not something I wanted to happen, I can tell you that.
And then, how did that sort of just bring you down, or were you sort of motivated to, I'm going to show these guys, and I'm going to do this on my own?
I had a fighting will, and I knew that these songs were wicked. And I said, this is good. This was a mistake. You should have treated me good. Because this was probably would have been, my opinion, one of the best Kiss albums. Because this would have been the natural progression of where we left off with Lick It Up, So I said, this is good. Whatever is gonna come my way, whatever is meant to be, it'll be. But my heart, my soul was in it, and I whatever little bit of money I had, I kept pumping it in there. Then I found the singer, the voice, and then once that voice was on those demos, I said, that's it, We found gold in the mine, So, and then it found its way to Chrysalis Records, because I can remember sitting, and I knew these songs were hot. We had, I had 3 demos that were finished. It was Boys Are Gonna Rock, No Substitute, and Shoot You Full of Love. Those were the 3 demos. And I can remember sitting in record companies' offices, and I'm sitting there, and I know this is good. This is really good. And I'd always get, this is really good, Vinnie. We'll call you, And one of the best stories I remember was there was a big guy. He was in Polygram. He was a very high up executive who said, I want to hear these demos, Vinnie. Okay, well, here they are. And he says, we're going to pass. And I said, you're going to pass on these demos? Why would you do that? Well, we don't think it's right for us. I said, you don't think this is right for you? So he says, sorry, good luck with that, Vinnie. So a year later, the record comes out, and I was playing a sold-out show, and this executive from Polygram is out there, and he wants to know if he could come in and meet me and shake my hand and congratulate me. So I said, is this the guy that turned me down at Polygram? I says, okay, bring him in. And he was, oh, what a great record. Oh, that's incredible. So it's funny how the business works, but, you just take a shot. If you believe in yourself, if you believe that you have something good, follow your heart. It'll take you where you want to go, I think,
Yeah. We got 3 days of Q&A, so I want to jump into a couple other things real quick. If you'll comment on that fans have been talking about for the last 20 years. So, for example, the box set.
By the way, is this honest enough for everybody?
Yeah.
You sure? Do you want it a little bit more held back, or is this? Is you sure this is okay? You're asking from the heart, and this is it. So, if it's not boring you, then I'm here for you.
I could sit here for hours doing this.
Well, it feels good to tell you this way, because all the interviews I used to give in the 80s were just like bullshit. They were like, I can't stand to listen to them today because they were fake, but it was a time of publicity machines and, press agents, and this is what you need to say. Say it like this, and you need to act like this, act like that, and say this, say that. And I just would look at him and go, ugh, so I just, I never gave any interviews where I felt I was honest and answered things the way I would answer them to someone else, So when I see rock stars give these interviews still to this day, I just say, well, why don't you just tell me, just say it, And there's always this cover up to dancing. There's just never comfortable. So I figured this is either going to be comfortable for you or it's not going to be comfortable. And I wanted it to be comfortable for me. And the only way I could do that was to tell it to you this way, So that's why I'm, hopefully you feel the same. So this lovely gentleman here, along with, where is the other lovely gentleman?
James, right over
James. These two lovely gentlemen flew all the way from Australia.
30 hours.
30 hours. James North. Seth, what's your last name? That's what I said. That's exactly, I got it right the first time. And these guys, thank you guys for coming. I'm so honored that you would come to see me and spend 30 hours on a plane. Wow. Australia? England.
Norway.
Whoa.
Holland loves Vinnie. Holland loves Vinnie. Holland loves Vinnie.
Holland?
Norway.
Norway. Oh my. You mean you're all here from these countries?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, my God. Thank you so much. Where? Mexico. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is truly an honor. I am humbled. Thank you. This is really something. I do want to say, wherever you are, I want to thank with all my heart the Italian fans. They're always there, the Italian fan club. They are so beautiful, and I love you. I'm Italian, but I don't know how to speak Italian, and it pisses me off because I grew up in my home where people spoke Italian, my grandpa's, and I never, I don't want to speak that, I'm listening to I want to play my guitar, listen to Beatles. Why do I want to speak Italian? Well, now I know why, Didn't know it then, but I also want to say thank you, and I love you to my Brazilian fans. They are just beautiful people, and I say thank you. I'm humbled and honored for your love and your support to me, so thank you guys. Hello? Good to see you. What's your name? Paul. Thank you for coming. Where are you from? Here? He's from here. He's from here. There you go.
So
He came a long way.
So why, after 20 years, you didn't want to talk to people, you didn't want to see people, you didn't want to do interviews, you really sort of became a recluse, you had your own sort of family and friends. Why now? Why 20
Why
years?
now?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Why now? Because
Because I will say a lot of people thought they would never see you again. I mean, I can't tell you how many people said, we just want to know that Vinnie is okay.
I didn't know that, but
Yeah.
thank you. 20 years is a long time. A lot of things. I could remember 20 years when it wasn't a long time, because nothing really happened. Or the things that happened were they were part of life, but something happened. There was some twist in the road, and it was not a good twist in the road. It was like an accident happened, and you become, you lose an arm, you lose a leg, and it was kind of like that with me. The lawsuit was something that basically snuffed out my life for many years, and I had a bad marriage that didn't work, and the combination of the two was really not healthy, and And it was just like I used to tell a really close friend of mine, I said, you know, that courthouse and that judge, they've got a cemetery, they've got a morgue down in that basement. And I know they got a headstone for me down there, but there's no way I'm stopping this, because I'm a fighter, and you know, that warrior of, I'll fight to the death for what's right. And unfortunately, it came to that. And part of a bad marriage, bad relationship, really took me out of, I had no life left, you know. It was a time where the only thing that was saving me was my guitar, you know. I look at that, I'm saying, that's me, that's all I do. And that would give me the reason to be still. And it wasn't a place I wanted to be, you know. I knew that I shouldn't be doing this, but it became all-consuming, because either you straighten out the past, and if you do, one way or another, it's the past you resolve. In order to move ahead, you resolve the past. But when forces don't want you to resolve the past, you have a choice to make. And it's a difficult choice, because you say either I need to find the answer. You know, it's like, it's a journey. If someone's looking for an answer for something that is, you know, if you don't find that answer, you will never find peace. So I had to find the answer. It could have been achieved so easily, but the forces did not want it to be that way. So coupling that with, you know, personal, you know, relations that were not good, it's amazing how fast 20 years, it's like, shoo, and you know, one day you wake up and you go, 20 years, you know. And then people, you know, I hear all the rumors, and I hear all the uglies and all the hurts and the pains and the accusations, and then that mugshot. And I said, you know, nobody knows what really happened. Nobody. It's all, there is a narrative, and there's no truth that can say, wait a minute, this is what happened. You're just making up a story. You don't know what you're talking about. You're working off of a narrative, and you're taking that narrative and making it your narrative. So nobody's ever heard from me, and I figured, listen, I'm not an internet person, and I really just, I'm not on social media. I know people are impersonating me. You know, there's a Vinnie Vincent Twitter account, and I'm thinking, shame on you. You know, you shouldn't fool people like that. That's not nice, you know. And there's people pretending to be me that try to pick up, you know, propose to beautiful ladies, and I'm thinking, this is not right. Somebody comes out and says, I'm Vinnie Vincent, and I'm voting for Bernie Sanders. I'm thinking, wow, God. So, you know, these are the things I thought, you know, if I don't come out and say, hey, everybody, you know, let's talk, you know, it's time to talk, then these things will start growing and growing and growing, and then, you know, they became so out of control that by the time you came around and said, I want to do this, I think the fans will love this, by the time that happened, then I said, this is the time. It's now it's here. Now says, God says, you got to do this. You know, that's what I felt like. So that's why I'm here, because I said, somebody else is making this, planning this, because life is what happens when it upsets your plans, and then life comes around. So then life happens, and then all your plans that said, I'm just gonna, you know, sit, play at home, and take care of my kids, my dogs, and, you know, have some fun. And, you know, I was looking for peace in the most desperate way, and I hadn't had peace in 25 years. I just wanted some peace, you know, of just harmony. And I began to really know what it was like to wake up every day and say, God, it's great to be alive, you know. This is some journey. This is some place. And that never occurred to me earlier on. But, you know, it does now. So every day that I'm here and I'm above ground, I'm here with you, you know? We are still here. Everybody, you know, so many people are gone, and we get to enjoy this moment, you know? And I'm here, as I wrote in my message to Jean, who I love very much, that I'm here to celebrate our music and our band and our times that brought so much happiness to so many people. And this is important to me now, you know? This really is.
Do you still write and play regularly?
Yeah, this is all I do. But people think I don't do that because I'm not making records and I'm, you know, you don't hear from me, but this is all I do all the time. So it's what keeps me Vinnie Vincent in my music, and this is it. But, you know, the world changed, and I don't know, you know, sometimes you just, when you're not part of social media, you know, all you hear is, no, fuck this, everybody, you suck, yeah, you suck. Man. Wow, you suck, oh, I hate you, you know, I hate you, this person's, I hate you, you're ugly, you're short, you're fat, you're bald, whatever. You know, oh, you stink on guitar, I hate Vinnie Vincent, I love Vinnie Vincent. Then you just go, oh, I don't know what this is about anymore, you know? I used to play music, and you went to the store and you had rock magazines, you know? I used to be one of them. I thought, oh wow, I'm gonna buy this issue. You know, you take it home, and that's what you had. And now everybody's, the record sucks, you know? This song sucks, Vinnie plays too fast, Vinnie does too slow, and they're melodic, and what's that? Well, you know, I went through my fast times at Ridgemont High. You know, it was the guitar player times, and you know, they still are. But now I've learned, you know. Okay, so we got this piece, then we mix it with this piece, and then we bake it, and it comes out this. So it's a growth time, you know, a time where you grow and you just learn, and your music changes and it matures and this and that, and it's still there, it's still what you do,
yeah.
But it's taken on, you know, different dimensions. I guess, you know, I won't dare compare myself to anything because I don't do that, but I know when the Beatles went from She Loves You to, you know, Abbey Road, you know, it was a growth, you know, it was time to grow, you know, although I love She Loves You, period. Yeah. Could never get out of that. But, I don't know, how am I doing so far? You sure? Mark, am I okay? Mark said to me, I don't know if I'd say this. I don't know if I'd say this. I said, yeah, okay, I won't say it. And here I am disobeying him. You know, everything he told me not to do, I'm doing. I'm sorry. Do you forgive me? He's not going to talk to me all the way home.
Well, here's a question. I can ask some more questions, or we're going to be here tomorrow again doing some Q&A, and should we get going to the autographs and photos and whatnot? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Move on to autographs and photos? So you can meet Vinnie face to face? You guys, as a Kiss fan, see, now I'm going to get emotional. It is so amazing to be sitting here with Vinnie after all this time, so I can't thank you enough.
Well, I love everyone too, and I'm really sorry that, you know, the haters out there give you all this one horrible story after another, because, you know, it hurt me to have you guys hear this crap, and I wanted a way to say, here's what really happened, you know? And when all you ever hear is, you know, these horrible stories, you know, lies become true, and the truth never becomes the truth, you know?
And can I tell you that when you were talking to Eddie, John 5 from Rob Zombie's band texted me, and he says, please tell Vinnie I think he's the greatest.
Thank you,
I think we
John.
all agree, we all think you're great.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. I'm honored. Really, really honored. Guys, thank you very much.
So give us about.
Oh, you wanted the box set.
Oh, you want to talk about the box set? Yeah,
Yes.
okay, let's talk about the box set.
Labor of love that I'm still working on. It took a 20-year detour because of all the horrible shit that was happening to me. And I started it with, 500 years ago, and it was like cassette tapes. And I remember advertising, the internet was just new, and there was no CDs at that time. Well, there was, but nobody was thinking that way, not many. And I remember taking some orders, and this lawsuit just sucked me into it was like a jet engine, and it's like getting too close to a jet engine and you're gone. And that was what happened. And I spent whatever money I had was a lot at that time, and I spent it to create everything, and I never was able to take the pieces and finish it. And things got worse and worse and worse in my personal life, and this thing, the people that stopped believing in me, and they said I'm ripping them off. I mean, it hurt. It still hurts. It hurts a lot because it wasn't intended to be that way. So I am so sorry that it caused you to not believe in me anymore. And I'll be finishing it this year, God willing. And I have been working on it for the last 4 months, and I pulled everything out. I actually got pretty far with it. All the boxes were created. The artwork alone took forever, and the boxes were unusual because they were large boxes, and for CD box sets, usually they're pretty small. But this was like something that I was really going to be proud to release, because I've been recording songs and writing songs and everything for a long time. I've got really fun stuff with Kiss and Gene and Paul and our rehearsals and writing sessions, and with Felix Cavalier and with Laura Nero. It's just stuff that is so meaningful to me that I think would be meaningful to you. There's a Guitar-mageddon songs and recordings that nobody ever heard. I'm the only one that really has those. I sometimes hear these things that are on YouTube, and they're like, that's not where it ended up, and the quality was just absolutely horrible. All of my my sad songs, because I'm a sad person, even though I don't appear that way. But I've always been, I write a lot of songs like that time of year and stuff like that, and Love Kills and Million to One and stuff like that. And I got albums of that stuff, and I started working on a new Kiss record. And I said, this would make a great Kiss record. So there's a lot of stuff on this box set, and I'm really, really working hard to finish it. And everyone who did buy it, thank God I stopped it early before too many people bought it. But everyone who did buy it will get a free, obviously, they will get 2 copies for what they have waited for. And they will get some really nice personal gifts from me as a thank you, and I'm sorry, please forgive me gift. So, hopefully it'll come soon. You wanted it from the heart, that's what I'm doing.
Now, just for the Kiss rumors with another farewell tour, if they did ask you to come back and play a couple shows for a couple songs, would you do it?
These are my guys, yeah. These are my buds, my family. Whether we, families have fallout and families love each other, and I love them. you know, so of course, this is part of my past, my legacy. This is what we did together, and absolutely, of course. By the way, I think I have a nice story I want to share with you. I was telling Eddie Trunk this story, and it's one of those life stories. I had an email address that I hadn't used in about 4 or 5 years, and the last time I used it was for certain business thing that was going on, and once that business was done, I never used it again. So I hadn't checked it in about 5 years. Something on Christmas night, about a month ago, on Christmas night, some force told me, why don't you just see if that email address is still there? And, you better log in at least and see, if anybody's, maybe you missed an email in the last 5 years, So I log in, I'm thinking, oh, what was my password again? So I go, oh, I think I remember. As I'm going through all my files trying to remember this stupid password. So I finally remember it, logged in, and I see 3 emails from Gene Simmons. I go, oh, I hit my friend. What? I thought he was mad at me. So, and I'm looking at the dates of these emails, and one was from June of 2017, and one was from another one from June 2017, and there was one from July 2017. I'm thinking, shit, this is like 6 months ago, I said, no wonder he's mad at me because I never answered him, So I opened it up. Hey, Vinnie, it's Gene. I'm putting out the vault, and I'm so happy to hear from him. I'm so happy. I mean, really, like, so happy. He's my old friend. This is somebody that taught me, how to walk and talk. And so we're putting out the vault, and we're putting one of our songs that we wrote together on it. It's called "I Want to Live," and wanted to know if we could put it on. I said, yeah, of course. So I immediately said, listen, here's what happened. I told him, I said, I'm so sorry for not writing back. I love you dearly, always have, always will. I said, you said something, you hurt me because you said something about, not wanting to work with me again. Why not? We love each other, and our music says everything. And I says, I think I understand why you were mad because I didn't answer you. So I love you, and this is one of my favorite songs that him and I wrote. I Want to Live, and eventually he invited me down to present it on stage to me, the copy of the vault. And so if you're interested, it'll be in April in Nashville. Gene and I will be together for the first time in many years for him to present the vault to Vinnie Vincent. So I'm looking forward to it. It's meaningful to me. Thank you, Gene. Thank you, Gene.
All right, well, thank you, Vinnie. It's been amazing.
Thank you guys.
And thank you guys for being here. And give us about 10-15 minutes, and we'll start doing some autographs and some photos.
I just really want to thank everybody here. This is really warmed my heart, and I hope I made everybody happy. Nice picture. Thank you. Beautiful shot. Thank you guys. I love you all. Everyone, thank you.